Hi, I here. This is a reading for the sign of Leo. We're going to do a Celtic crossbred with the huge tarot deck, and what we see on the bottom of the deck is going to represent what you don't see coming. And once we get an idea of what the general message of this reading is going to be, we're going to pull 3 cards from the shadow deck to see what's going on in your subconscious and to see if there are any further clarifications we might need. So let's just see what happens. Okay, so today we are tuning in to the sign of Leo. So if that is your sun, your moon, or your rising sign, or however else today you choose to identify with the sign of Leo, you can use that as a way of interpreting the messages that are coming through. And as always, if the details of these messages do not fit, don't try to force them. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. And if none of the details are seeming to fit your life or your situation, that's okay. You can always check your other placements, or you can stick around and see what's going on in the world of other Leos. So let's see what we get today. So I'm using the huge tarot deck for this cycle of readings. If you've been watching my channel for a bit, I've mentioned before this is my oldest tarot deck. It was my first one I ever got. And I just felt like sort of pulling it back out again and just sort of reconnecting with it. I've always liked the sort of feeling I get when I use this one. Putting the Thoth deck on hold a little bit for now. And I apologize if I sound a little hoarse. I am a little sick at the moment and I'm still recovering, so hopefully this reading goes well enough. I am feeling quite worn out, so we'll see what we can get today. So let's see what we can get. What messages can come through. What things should my Leos be thinking about? Are there things that we should reflect upon? Are there things that we should sort of sit and meditate on? Are there any warnings that we need to see? Are there any things that we should try to avoid or try to prevent putting our energy into? Or are there things that we should try to put our energy into? Things we should move towards, things that might make our lives a little happier or easier or whatever it is that you're looking for. What messages can we get today for those who are trying to tune in to the energy of Leo? What can our Celtic cross tell us? So let's see. Oh. Let's get one more good shuffle. There we go. All right, so let us see what messages come through today. All right, so in the present moment, we start with the 5 of Swords. Yeah, that's not feeling great. All right, that is a defeat. This is the winning at all cost card. So perhaps you are feeling a little frustrated at the moment. Perhaps you have been trying to work through something or work towards a goal and you're seeming defeated. Perhaps there are people who seem to be holding you back from whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. Or maybe on the flip side, you're doing that to other people. You know, maybe you should reflect and look at, are you holding other people back from reaching their potential? But in either direction, there's some blockage, some level of someone being defeated or dominated by another person, and in general, that's something we want to try to avoid. So let's see if we can get some context for what this might mean for you. Okay, I'm getting the feeling that you're probably the one feeling defeated here. You're probably trying something and it's just not working and getting to a point where it's time to move forward. But it's important to learn the lessons from whatever this defeat was, you know. A defeat does not have to mean necessarily a purely negative thing. I mean, yes, the goal you wish to accomplish did not necessarily come to fruition, but the lessons learned are going to be something positive that you can take forward with you in whatever it is you're going to be doing next. So let's see if we can get a sense of what that might be. Okay, 10 of Cups in the past, followed by all this sword energy. That doesn't feel amazing, but that doesn't mean there's not better things ahead. Okay, that doesn't feel good. Let's see what we got. The Magician, the Lovers. Okay, there we go. There's some powerful major arcana there. 7 of Cups. Okay, probably feeling a little disillusioned. Yeah. We got the 5 of Cups, the Hermit, and the 5 of Wands. Okay, yeah, this feels like a difficult time for you. Okay, so let's just get into this. There's a lot of difficult cards here. In the recent past with the 10 of Cups there, it seems like you really had your heart invested in something, and maybe too much so. Perhaps you had kind of come to a point where you realized, like, this is it, this is what I'm going for, this is, maybe you thought this was your star, this is the thing that you were going to connect with that would give your life the purpose that it needed, and it really made you feel good about whatever this was. But then it's followed by the 5 of Swords, and the universe was like, nope, you may want this, but either you are not putting in the effort to obtain this goal, or more likely it's not the right goal for you. And so you were probably hit with some kind of blockage that said that even if this is the right path for you to be going on, the current sort of version or mode of that is not the end game. Okay, so I feel like you were really trying to connect with something really positive that you felt was the end-all goal of what you wanted, and then boom, something came and said, nope, this is not it. You've got more work to do. And like I said, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not going to feel good, and by a lot of these cards, I can tell it doesn't really feel great. But what you're going to learn from recovering from whatever this was is going to be really positive for you, I think. You've got some difficult times ahead, but they're going to be productive, lessons learned from this. That's why the 6 of Swords is what's crossing the 5 of Swords. We're hitting this roadblock that is just saying, nope, we cannot proceed forward in this path or in this way, but we can take these lessons and move forward with them. Now we have the 8 of Swords in the near future, which means that I don't think that you're quite ready to get away from whatever this was that blocked you off. This doesn't feel great. Most likely what's going on is you're probably stuck in your head. You probably got so enraptured by whatever this goal was, it almost probably got like a single-minded goal for you. And then you just started thinking about, how do I do this? How do I do this? How do I do this? And it's good to be focused. You want to put all your energy into making sure you're manifesting whatever it is you want to do with your time in your life. But it looks like you might have done that at the expense of other things, and have sort of imprisoned yourself. And now, going forward, it seems like what the lesson is that needs to be learned with the 6 of Swords is how to step out of your own way and to maybe let things unfold a little bit more naturally and be a little bit more aware of what's going on around you. Now, here with the Magician down at the bottom of the vertical axis here that's good. That means that you are really driven by wanting to create whatever this 10 of Cups life was for you. You're definitely in a mode of wanting to bring into reality things that are going to make you happy and feel fulfilled, and you're willing to be creative in your way that you accomplish these goals. But again, I think you're almost too stuck inside of yourself. You're getting too hung up on, how do I make this happen? How do I make this happen? Perhaps what you need to do a little bit more of as well is to just learn to connect with what makes you happy. And not so much with trying to get to what makes you happy. That makes sense. It feels like part of the problem might be you trying to manifest the things that you want and then focusing so much on trying to create the things that you want that you lose track of the things that you have. And I think part of what the sort of subtle message behind this is that the things that you really want that are going to make you happy will come to you if you just sort of relax and enjoy what you have and do what you sort of in the present moment, what you've got going for you in the best way possible. I mean, don't stagnate. Don't just say, this is it, I've plateaued, but like always move forward. But make sure that as you're moving forward, you're still taking care of the present and really focusing on what brings you joy. I mean, if this is you trying to move towards something, usually the best way to do that is not to identify a point on a map and try to get to that other location. It's to just surround yourself with things and people that bring you the joy that that experience sort of represents for you. And as you do that, you'll start to kind of find that life will naturally present to you the small steps you need to move closer and closer to your inevitable goal. If you're just focused on the goal itself, then you spend all your time worrying about the path to the goal rather than the actual enjoyment of the experience. Okay, so I think that's a bit of what's going on here. So you're wanting to create things, but I think it's almost in your detriment that you're focusing so much on how to create the things you want. And that might be a little bit also of the lesson that needs to be learned from the Six of Swords. You know, here I think you're thinking too much about the vision of what you want to accomplish rather than what you have, and that's what's got you stuck here. So if you really want to create, you know, connect with the things around you that make you feel happy. And I think that's why the Lovers is up there at the top. You know, you need to connect with something that really makes you feel sort of in sync with things. You need to dedicate your time and your energy not to what you want to be, but connect yourself with the things that you have that bring you that joy. And that will start to pull you in the direction of what you're really wanting to create in the long term. So, you know, sort of slow down. Don't worry about the goal so much as the experience of that, you know. Because if you focus, it's kind of ironic. If you focus too much on the goal, you get too hung up on the process of achieving the goal rather than the joy of experiencing the goal itself. That's what I'm trying to get at. Okay, so I think that's the lesson that we need to learn here. And I think that's why we're being blocked with this Five of Swords, this Ten of Cups into Five of Swords. It's just like, hey, you see this, and then boom, nope, because you're missing something, and you need to see that if you want to really get to the actual Ten of Cups that you're trying to accomplish. I feel this Ten of Cups is more of a dream than a reality that you're in. Okay, and that's also why we have a Seven of Cups in your general energy. This is illusion. You know, you've got all these cups in front of you, and it looks like you've got all of these great things. But you're mistaking which one of those are positive experiences and which ones are just, you know, fantasies. Some of those things are going to lead you to positive places, and some of them are just going to be, you know, escapist sort of enjoyments of things that could be rather than things that are. Okay, so we need to be taking time to really analyze what it is that we're connecting with. And again, I think the issue is looking too far forward rather than zooming in on what's happening presently and seeing what's really going on. Okay, and I think as that happens, that's why the Five of Cups is here. Again, it's with the same kind of energy as the Five of Swords is saying here. It's the Five of Swords is defeat. It's the feeling that, you know, you were moving towards something and then all of a sudden a roadblock just stopped. It's like you're on a car and all of a sudden you run over those road spikes and all of a sudden your tires are all flat and you're like, that's the Five of Swords here. The Five of Cups is the feeling of you in the car being like, oh my God, no, I'm stuck. It's the emotional side of that blockage. And I think you need to stop and take stock of that feeling and understand why that happened and where that's coming from. And I think that's going to be really constructive, but it's going to be difficult. It's not going to feel great. This is why the Hermit's here, right? This is the taking the time to pull back, look inside of ourselves, and see what happened. Why were we in Ten of Cups mode followed by Five of Swords? Like that's a big jump in like super high to pretty not the worst, but not a pleasant low. Okay, so this is in our challenge. So again, I'm repeating myself a little bit here, but it's not easy to sort of stop and do this reflective work. But you'll come to understand, I think the other important thing about the Hermit being here is it's not just stopping to look inside yourself and be reflective. It's realizing that the Ten of Cups that you were seeking after, this goal in the distance, you don't need to be moving towards your ultimate like fantasy goal in the future. The thing that you really need that's going to really make you happy is already inside of you. I mean, people forget this all the time. It's really easy to forget this because you see all these things that you want to move towards and connect with. You know, we have the Lovers card there. There's all these things you want to commit your time and energy to because you want to have this like sort of energy exchange with these things that make you feel really good. And that is good. You know, we need that in our life, but we've often failed to forget that, you know, the core of what we truly need is just getting in touch with ourselves, just connecting with the star inside of us. Remember, I mentioned the star with the Ten of Cups here. You It felt like you were moving towards your star, but really the hermit, in a lot of depictions, he's got his lantern and there's a star inside of that lantern. And the idea there is that the star that you're really trying to work towards, a part of that is already inside of you. Now, there's a sort of strange mystery to the fact that the star is both within and outside of us, and that's a whole aspect of life is coming to understand that. But the easiest part of that to forget is not that the star is something that we have to reach towards externally, but it's the star inside of us that we have to spend a great deal of time connecting with. I mean, these things kind of have to happen at the same time. You have to reach the external star while you're reconnecting with the internal star, and then it's like a circuit. Once you get those two things in link, then all of a sudden that's the energy with the lovers that you're really wanting to feel. It's just hard to sometimes make that happen because a lot of people neglect the internal aspect of this. The lovers isn't just about giving and connecting. It's also about, well, I guess what I mean when I say it's about giving is that part of that giving process comes from tapping into that internal star. And I think the hermit here is the challenge, is you realizing that you're not tapping into that internal star. You're not really connecting with your heart space in the way that you need to, and realizing how important that is for accomplishing your goals. And that's why you've stepped away from this Ten of Cups energy. You're losing that connection to the sort of infinite well of positive energy that's inside of you. I mean, you're a Leo. Your heart is what you're all about. So you need to really connect with that. And if you're not doing that, if you're shutting that off because you're trying to move towards something else, then you're never going to reach that something else, because the blockage that you're hitting, those road spikes I mentioned, they're internal, not external. You're going to feel them externally because you're not going to get what you want, and then you're going to be like, well, why did I get what I want? Well, it's because you're blocking yourself. And not to put any sort of blame on yourself, don't take it that way. It's not like you shouldn't be putting guilt or anything on yourself. But you should come to understand that, if you're meeting blockages in your external life, perhaps an important and productive way to reflect upon that is to look at, okay, I didn't get what I wanted, but how much do I still have? How much of me can I still connect with and still get the bliss I was looking for, I think is the idea here. So, okay, so that's enough about the hermit there. We have the Five of Wands as the outcome. Yeah, you've got work ahead of you. This is not going to be a short, quick fix. I think you've really derailed a little bit here. You've sort of lost sight of what you were trying to accomplish by getting too hung up on your idealization of whatever the situation was. And so now you're conflicted. You've got all of these different passions inside of you, and the work of pulling inward with the hermit, that hard work of dealing with these spilled cups is, first you got to clean up the mess. Right? Make sure you analyze what happened, take the work, do the work to sort of repair the short-term things that have occurred and reflect upon them, learn those lessons with your Six of Swords energy there. And then as we move forward, while we're learning to connect more with our hearts and the things inside of us, the Five of Wands here is going to be about balancing out the different drives inside of us that are pulling us in different directions. You may want to do this, you want to do this, you want to do this, I want to connect with that, I want to connect with that. And you got to get that into some sense of control, okay? And this is not like a mental thing. You can't just be like, all right, I'm going to think really hard about getting grounded. No, you need to actually get grounded in your, almost in your physical space. And this is the Suit of Wands, but you need to get all of that sort of energy inside of you that's going all over the place. You need to sort of focus that into passions that are going to feel constructive. Some of that's going to be focusing them more inward, and some of that is going to be, maybe I'm kind of feeling a suggestion here of maybe exercise more, do some meditation, just do things that kind of get all of your restless energy channeled into something. You should think about your feelings and your passions and all of that stuff. Think of it as if it's a physical energy, and think about it's electricity or water or something, and trying to funnel that into something that's not going to get blocked or create these sort of chaotic whirlpools inside of you. Go for walks. Hell, lift weights. Just do things to get that physical energy moving in a direction of something constructive. And then while you're doing that, it's going to give you some clarity of thought to sort of reconnect with yourself, and then you can do that hermit work a little bit more effectively, because that energy is not distracting you by pulling you in 5 different ways. So that's the advice I have for you there. Let's see what you don't see coming. Ten of Wands. It's burden. It's work. You're right. Like I said, this isn't going to be a short thing. You've got a lot of work to do. Again, I think the real important lesson here is with the Ten of Cups getting sort of slapped out of your hand, and now you've got 5 of your cups are sitting on the ground, is that you're not doing the work that you need to accomplish the goals you want to accomplish. So, again, don't focus on the goal. Focus on the feeling itself of what you're trying to do. Connect with yourself. Connect to the things that make you feel good. But also make sure that you're doing the maintenance to shift all that energy, that restlessness inside of you. You know, if you're putting all of that energy into this fantasy that you want to create, and then that fantasy doesn't happen, then you've got all this energy that has nowhere to go. And so the Ten of Wands here, I think, is that you realizing like, oh God, now I've got all of this weight. I don't have anything to put it in. I was pouring it into a sort of black hole before. The black hole's not there, so now I've got all of this weight I need to carry. So pick up some hobbies that are I really feel physical based. Put your physical energy into getting some of that restlessness out, and that's going to help you get a little more grounded, and you're going to feel a little happier, and you're going to be able to do that reflection that you need to get back on track, and then truly connect with whatever the Lovers represents for you. It doesn't mean that whatever this was that you were moving towards is never going to happen, but the mode that you were trying to approach it, definitely not going to work. So take the time to focus on yourself, improve yourself. And yeah, I mean, that's the best advice I can give if you're trying to move towards anything is if you want to connect with something else, make sure you're the best version of yourself that you can be. So that way, when you do connect with whatever that is for you, you can present to that thing, whether it's a person or a project or work or whatever, the greatest version of yourself. And that takes work. It's burden, but it's going to be productive work if you take it seriously. Okay, so let's see what the Shadow deck has for us. All right. Oh man, my throat. Not feeling good. But hopefully this message was clear enough. Definitely harder to give readings when you're sick and have a cloudy head and a sore throat. Okay, let's see what you got in the Shadow deck. Okay, so we've got 6 of Swords again, the 9 of Spheres, and the 3 of Cups. That's beautiful. So I think you're going to take these lessons seriously, or at least this is suggesting that you've got the intention to take this seriously. I mean, you still have to do the work. The future is not written in stone. That's your responsibility to pick up and respond to these things. But the 6 of Swords is both in your external and internal world here. So you're learning these lessons, and you're visualizing that ideal world. But now, instead of a 10, we're seeing a 9. And the 9 of Spheres is more of being self-sufficient rather than a community or family-based abundance. It's not as much about the legacy and giving to other people, so much as putting in the work to create for yourself what you need to be independent and to enjoy the fruits of your labors independently. And then when you get to the 10, then you can share those with other people. So I think this is a sign of moving more towards focusing on yourself rather than trying to connect with something external to yourself. That doesn't mean you can't do that later, but now is the time to focus on you. And we have the 3 of Cups there. That's a card of celebration. And like I said, I think a big important thing here is connecting with what's already around you. I think this is a signal that you are ready to shift into a space of enjoying the people and the resources and experiences of whatever is in your immediate environment and celebrating what you have more so than trying to connect with what you don't have. And I'm telling you, the more you focus on what you have and improving the what's grounded here in the present, the more other things are going to almost sort of naturally come towards you. Okay, so work on yourself, and that'll get you much, much farther than just trying to jump 1,000 miles ahead in one go. And what you see coming is the Wheel of Fortune. Like I said, if you really focus on working on yourself and what you have, the things that you're really wanting to bring into your life will start to almost more naturally come towards you if you do not try to reach out for them. That's an important thing to keep in mind. Easier said than done, but I think that is the advice that's coming through here. So, all right, that's all I have for you today, Leo. I hope this was helpful or enjoyable. Please like and subscribe if you have not already. And if you have any comments or feedback, please feel free to leave a comment down below. I try to respond and get back to all of you as best as I can. And if there's anyone that you know that would enjoy or benefit from this or any of my other videos, please feel free to share them as you see fit. But again, that's all I have for you today, Leo, so I hope you have a great rest of your day.